something. I don't know why President Mnangagwa is on a mission to just firing people. Chinamasa, of all the people, you know what I mean? Ex-minister, finance minister, actually. So Chinamasa has been fired by President Mnangagwa. Also, there is a minister who have been arrested for literally calling the first lady a prostitute. Yeah, but when you see men start calling your wife a prostitute, then definitely there's quite a number of things that you need to just kind of check and see what's happening. Let me check in. You know, this is quite very sad. The developments are such an embarrassment, especially around the head of state and his wife. This is quite very disheartening, actually. You know what I mean? It's sad. All right, so if it's your first time to come across this channel, Rumbi Uncensored, I'm going to say hello and welcome to the family. But please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Ring the bell so that at least every time I'm live, you're going to be notified immediately. And I also want to send some shout out to my regulars and say, hey, welcome to Hesi. James, good to see you. Live. What's happening, guys? Good to see you. Please don't forget to like the live so that we push algorithm and invite everyone to the conversation. It's good to see you, guys. You've seen the headline. Charles, good to see you. Brenton, yo, what's happening? How's everything at your end? It's a late night show, but we're going to be having fun. I'm going to tell you why my times are inconsistent. The reason is because I know I've got enemies out there. Because it was a time I was very intentional with my time. And then I realized that people were coming in and cause disturbance. Then I said, all right, you know what? I know how to play the cards. It's a game of chess. I can do any time where the devil does not know what time. You know, the devil is a liar. Yes, you have seen the headline, definitely. Can I just say the ZANU-PF had the nerve, the ZANU-PF patriots had the nerve. I'm going to read the tweet that they sent out today. They said what happened to ANC will never happen again to ZANU-PF. Did you hear that? What happens to ANC? You know that ANC has been booted out, apparently. And they said that what happened there in South Africa will never happen to ZANU-PF. And I was laughing in my corner. I was like, excuse me, the last time I checked, you must never say never. You know what I mean? And we also know that Smith said the same thing. Never in a million years would there be black, rule in this country. Where is he today? It's history. Someone has said to ZANU-PF, no, it's too soon. Don't celebrate. It's way too soon because things can change in a minute. Just like that. Right. So can I tell you, there is a video that is circulating right now. One thing I've realized and that I've observed is that President Mnangagwa is very clear when it comes to how he runs the country. He tells you about him ruling and ruling and ruling until whenever he wants to stop, if he wants to. But today there's a video circulating where he literally spoke to Muswere and he made it clear that this man is a minister of actual information. You know, Muswere. Yes, and he also went on to say he focused on propaganda. I was like, I mean, we've been seeing this over the years, and also, but as a person getting younger, also they become like babies, right? And you know how babies are. You can tell your child to say, don't even say this, and then when those people are around, they say exactly what you tell them not to say because they can't understand how to comprehend stuff. And I'm here to tell you that I think we're in that season. Because the video that's circulating is very much embarrassed, especially coming from the president of a country. So this is President Mnangagwa speaking. Take a listen, please.
Yeah. Without my minister's slogan, Mnangagwa pointer, and this time I'm going to slogan here. Without testa. They were my side. Information publicity done up another one much better women propaganda. They were my side. Information publicity done up another one much better women propaganda.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that President Mnangagwa was confirming that Jean Van Swere is the one that is in charge of propaganda, lying to the people on record? Did you hear that? And over the years, we've been saying that ZBC is like a ZANU-PF wing that is just lying to people. And the President Mnangagwa was on record this today actually confirming the same thing. that Muswere is the head of lies, right? Muswere is the head of lies. Interesting, actually. So, Hope Watching on said, I think he actually attached the video. I want to read what he said here. He said two interesting things in this video. The president doesn't know the full name of the information ministry off the top of his head. I think we heard him saying, what's your name again? He's asking Muswere. He doesn't even remember his name. But like I said, he's getting younger, so I get that. Very much so. You know what happens with your mind as you're getting younger? And he went on to say, this is what was said, but more importantly, and in his own words, secondly, the president confirmed that the Minister of Information and staff like Nick Mangwana are there just to lie and spread propaganda on behalf of the regime. Can you hear that? So now it's on record. So next time, please do not ask. Just know that these people's job is to push narrative of propaganda. And sometimes I'm asking myself, I'm like, Jen Fonswere and Nick Mangwana, you guys are too young. Do you know that, guys, it's going to be difficult for you to walk on the street? People get too comfortable. They get too comfortable, with nonsense. But they don't realize that, no, things are always going to happen. You know what I mean? Things are going to happen. It is very sad to actually watch, right? But, without even wasting time and dwell on these shenanigans, we don't have time. We focus on things that matters. So Nelson Chamisa went to the funeral. One of the men that passed away, and that guy had already aligning himself with Shalango. So, but Chamisa went there. Chamisa is like me. You can hate me today and tomorrow I'll be smiling with you. I'm like, hey, bless you. I can be coming there holding a gift instead of coming here to bless you. So I'm a person who've learned that the easiest way to do away with evil is by keep on doing good, even to those that hurt you. Because some people have to learn, you know what I mean? So you keep on doing the right thing until they learn. So yeah, Nelson Chamisa actually attended the funeral today, and he spoke tomorrow morning, because I'm going to be dealing with Mafume and the scuffle that happened today between him and the journalist, blessed tomorrow morning. And also let you guys listen to what Chamisa said at the funeral. He was focusing on the politics and said, I'm still around in the arena, but that's not what I'm touching on tonight. Tonight, I want you to take a listen to what Nelson Chamisa said immediately after the funeral, because he had been asked by journalists, what are you saying about the South African election? And this was his comment. Please take a listen.
And of course, Africa's time has come. We need to now fashion the next dispensation, the next Africa, based on democracy, free and fair elections, credible institutions, not this rigging of elections. And we hope that SADC is going to play its prominent role in adjudicating the dispute for the continent and of course for the world. Africa's time has come. We need to now fashion the next dispensation, the next Africa, based on democracy, free and fair elections, credible institutions, not this rigging of elections. And we hope that SADC is going to play its prominent role in adjudicating the dispute.
All right, so you heard Nelson Chamisa that what is needed now in SADC is a free, fair, credible election. I think last week you also heard, Hichilema made it very clear that in SADC we no longer play. We want free, fair, credible elections so that we can avoid coups. Because if we don't stand to do right, then we are exposed to coup d'etats. And we are not willing to deal with that because those illegitimate moves cause a lot of problems in our region. So I hope this time we are waiting and we are all looking, looking towards actually being able to see a balanced Zimbabwe. A Zimbabwe where power is being shared. I'm not talking about the GNU. I'm talking about power sharing and the GNU are not the same. I think I'm going to explain to you a little bit further on. So now we're going to be looking at President Emmerson Mnangagwa. So ED, Chinamasa crossed swords over Chitando. So they fought Chinamasa and President Emmerson Mnangagwa, and he has been dismissed. You also remember that Muchang was dismissed. One thing I'll tell you about being fired is that you tend to be something else. If I've been your friend, are we no longer friends? And the way President Emmerson Mnangagwa is moving against all these ministers can show you good he doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care anymore. You know why? Because he made sure that he has got most of his people very closer to him. So it's like, who are you? We are done. But I'm sorry to say this, but in me, I really view President Emmerson Mnangagwa as a user. in my opinion, because most of the people that worked tirelessly, I mean, he pushed on his campaign, he always sidelined them and then he can align himself with someone else. Look at what's happening with Shiva. He's not very close. He's actually not either the assistant of the president or is not the other minister or no the vice president. That's what people are calling him now. They say he's a VP de facto. That's assumed daily. That's the kind of things that are going on in our corner. So I'm going to read the message that was sent out actually this evening by Daily News, Newsday, that a former cabinet minister and ZANU-PF Politburo member Patrick Chinamasa reportedly lost his influential treasury general's post after crossing swords with the President Emerson Mnangagwa for allegedly interfering with his cabinet ministers, the Newsday as he heard. Mnangagwa reportedly summoned the former minister recently for challenging his government ministers after he reportedly wrote to former local government minister Winston Chitando challenging the suspension of his alleged allies in Makoni Rural District Council over corruption. The government suspended the Makoni DRC chairperson David Guy Mutasa and former Chief Executive Edward Pise, who are allegedly well-known Chinamasa's allies. Pise was relieved of his post last week after holding on to the position for more than 30 years. Chitando early this year dispatched an investigative team to look into the allegations of land theft in Nyazura, but the investigators allegedly faced resistance from Mutasa and Pise, leading to their suspension. Chinamasa, who was redeployed to the party's National Secretary for Legal Affairs, allegedly wrote to Chitando's former ministry protesting against the suspension. He allegedly also wrote another strongly worded letter to the current local government and public works minister Daniel Garwe challenging his predecessor's decision. Both Chitando and Garwe were reportedly not amused by the conduct of the former party treasurer general and reported the matter to Mnangagwa. In the letter to Garwe seen by Newsday, Chinamasa said he felt compelled to advise him that the council had been deemed to be one of the best-run local authorities under Mutasa. Your predecessor, Honorable Winston Chitando, took a decision which I strongly feel was unjustified and defies any logic unless there is something besides what was disclosed to me, says the letter dated May 7 this year. He said Mutasa was a past national chairperson of the National Association of Rural and Urban Councils. I thus feel strongly that the suspension of Aldermen Mutasa and Pise are not only unwarranted but cast aspersions of their characters and reputation, so something that could have been avoided through consultations, Chinamasa said. Meanwhile, sources have told Newsday that Chinamasa, who served as Finance Minister and Justice Minister on several occasions after joining the late former President Robert Mugabe as Attorney General, had become arrogant after his rise under Mnangagwa. Chinamasa has not been answering calls since last week. Garwe said he was still new to the local government ministry to comment on this matter. However, sources said Mnangagwa asked Chinamasa why he was questioning and challenging his cabinet appointees. President Mnangagwa was not happy that Patrick Chinamasa was in the habit of challenging his ministers and was taken to task over the matter and told to stop the habit. The one source said Chinamasa is literally challenging the president since Chitando and Garwe are his appointees, especially after querying the decision to probe corruption allegations. So yeah, can I just say, can I just say this? Okay, I bless you. Okay, can I tell you something that I've learned is that this on its own, the action that's happening around President Emerson Mnangagwa should actually, be teaching something. The fact that you stay for too long, in one position, you will start disrespecting people. He's in that position as well, right? The way he was talking to people, when you stay too long in position, you think you become a god and you start disrespecting those that actually trusted you in that place. 2017, I can never forget when we had a party with my brothers celebrating. We danced that song, Kutanga Kwaro Gamba. Where are we today? Everything. Abamanyama Amiri Nerongo. Right. So President Mnangagwa should not even try Yeah, yesterday for too long, Chinamasa began to challenge President Mnangagwa's leadership. Again, that's what happens when people take too long in position. Don't forget Mugabe. You would say, no one will rule him from the grave. Right. Maybe he is. When you see the chaos there, you never know. You never know. The chaos can tell you that something doesn't make sense here. Something really do not make sense. But anyway, we are following and we are watching closely to see what's going to be happening with Mr. Chinamasa. But it's funny how president is just kind of firing people. But I told you it's getting younger. And I know how grumpy they become, right? Yes, I know what I'm talking about. I've stayed with my grandmother. I was the only one who was very patient and trusted to stay with her. Nobody could stand that my grandmother. You know, so I understand. I do understand. Okay, so moving on. How on earth can a minister call the first lady a prostitute? Hey, I don't know where people... How on earth? But there are two sides to the coin here. I'll tell you facts. Okay, when you hear a man opening his mouth and call your wife a prostitute, you must introspect. Okay, you heard me well, right? When another man starts calling your wife a prostitute, I'm just saying you need to introspect. Or the wife needs to introspect. You know, we have heard quite a lot, you know, as far as the president's wife's actions are concerned. I mean, during the day we heard from ZANU-PF headliner saying that she took almost 60 million, these are allegations, 60 million US dollars just to fund a cooking spree around the country. You know, and there were allegations that she takes trips. You remember last time when we ran a story here that she could say to the some of the army guys that shoot me. You remember the story when we went through that? You remember? So I'm just trying to understand her actions really within the parameters of the leadership of the president. Because remember, the person that is really having a position is the president. So I understand the first lady, you know, as a wife, but you sometimes you need to know where to draw the line, right? Because you're dealing with men, and the men by nature don't want to be challenged because they're going to talk to you back. You know what I mean? Yes, if you say you're going to take it to someone, it's a husband, and he's got a wife at home, and he knows how he can reprimand his wife, and then someone else just come and talk to him, anyhow, you answer back. Okay, this is just in general, right? I wouldn't know what happened here, but we're going to read the article. So the minister calling Auxillia Mnangagwa the first lady a prostitute, you know. I don't understand Zimbabwe, honestly, I do not. But like I said, if you're a man and someone says that your wife, go home and introspect. All right, so let me read the article. So this is actually the Newsday that reported the story. The Standard, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so Zimbabwean former local government minister and ZANU-PF legislator Christopher Chingosho was reportedly arrested over the weekend after calling the country's first lady Auxillia Mnangagwa a prostitute. According to Newsday, the MP insulted the first lady after he was not invited to an event in his constituency. President Mnangagwa's wife was in Rusape in Chief Makoni's compound promoting her Narire Yemusha program. What's that? Narire Yemusha, please, if you understand that, can you just comment? I need to understand. What does that mean? Narire Yemusha. You know, I'm very traditional at heart, but very much out of touch with some of the words and their meanings. So please help me. What does that mean? Narire Yemusha program, which sought to empower parents and guardians. She also led a cookout competition for women. I've told you the cookout thing, you know. Yakubika high ferries, you know. So the report said, soon after she left, Chingosho reportedly went to the compound and questioned why he had not been invited. He arrived at the function and complained against the failure by the first lady to invite him. He said the first lady was a wall because she did not invite him. Okay, so some party members, hear this, some party members who attended the event immediately reported him to the police, leading to his arrest. The Standard quoted a senior ZANU-PF official in Rusape as saying Chingoso also faced a further charge of pointing a gun at Chief Makoni's wife at a homestead, report said. I love this story, and I'm going to tell you I love it very much, and I'll tell you. First and foremost, That's the problem. That's the problem of not having rules in the country. When we are crying on top of the roof and calling out to say, let's restore sanity in our society, that's exactly what we are trying to avoid. This is why last time when my lady Linda was moored by her husband, you remember that time when she was working with a bandage on the, you remember? I remember saying to her, I really feel for you, my lady, but this is why I've been saying, let's reform our society to be a society of classy and respect. And you were the forefront, you know, stopping us to prevent all these shenanigans. Now here you are. And what I'm just trying to say is we seem to be spending our time focusing on power-hungry grabbers rather than focusing on how can we reform our society, how can we teach people how to communicate, what we need in terms of the words that we say and what we cannot say, how can you respect authority. But there's too much of nonsense going on within the parameters of politics. I wonder why now men are saying this kind of statements to a first lady. I can only imagine, hear this out. Okay, I can imagine the wife of Ramaphosa. Who can say that? You know why? Because it's how you treat yourself sometimes, right? And that's how people treat you back. It's a principle. We always cry on top of the roof that let's reform our society. And people don't understand. And that's why I've always said that I'm talking to almost every Zimbabwean across the world. That some of you can say, no, I've got my money. No, I have my retirement annuity in order. My kids have got money. Me and my husband, we've invested. We've got houses. Girl, listen to me and listen carefully. The very same children, if we don't change our society in Zimbabwe, tomorrow they can be murdered when they just land by the airport there. You know what? That's what South Africans did. When crime started, it was pointed to white people and they will tell you that when crime started with this armed robbery, it was when white people are being robbed, people were celebrating because it was a race card, right, they were playing. But where is it today? No one is safe. When you allow evil to take its residence in your society, then you know you are doomed. No one, absolutely no Zimbabwean is safe. Anything can happen to anyone. This is why it's important for us to come together and say, hey, how can we fix our society? How can we start reforming our institutions? Guys, what's happening in Zimbabwe is natural. I'm telling you facts. That is abnormal. That society is completely broken. It's not normal. And it must never be entertained by any normal person. It must never. Now look, people can point their gun at anybody just for nothing. Right? People can speak to the first lady anyhow. You know why? Because you created a very toxic environment where people no longer know parameters. Anyone can start shouting at someone, can start disrespect their sister, disrespect their neighbor. That's what you started and that's what you nurtured over the years. Now it's coming back to haunt you. Are you surprised? You should never be surprised. Because your duty was to make sure that Zimbabwe becoming a society that is respectful of each other. But you thought it's politics? No, it does grow. It crosses borders. Now from leaving politics, now it's getting into your home. To the extent where people are calling the first lady a prostitute. It's sad, actually. It's really sad and embarrassing at the same time. I hope this is kind of bringing some teaching and people are going to change. Because honestly, in my opinion, I find this really weird. Really, really weird. We are spending too much time on power. That's why my heart breaks every time I see Mugabe's kids. I'm like, if Mugabe could have left this power thing and grow his legacy, his kids could be mighty and great in society. But today, he's just taking shampoo and women. Is that their fault? Because the father was fighting for power instead of spending time with his kids. It's a principle. Legacy is not just by talking. You need to be a present. You need to be intentional as a father to raise your kids, as a mother to raise your children. You must be intentional. Nothing happens by accident. Every successful family, parents took time. They plan for a day. They take their children for sports. They sit down with their kids. They eat dinner together. Nothing happens by accident. But these ones, up and down, up and down, up and down. Hey, 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 hey. Jesus Christ. I pray they are learning from their own mistakes, because this, I tell you, it's on them. It is on them. This level of disrespect is on them. They must take responsibility for allowing people to hurt each other, for allowing young guys, young men to threaten each other, to go screaming and shout, fighting their own brothers, taking their brothers, injecting poison. You started it. Yeah, most of you there in politics, you started this dirty stuff. And let me tell you, you're going to go down paying it heavily. Unfortunately, I'm just there to tell you as a messenger, but trust me, you're going to pay for it. If you not, your children will. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. All right, so moving on. Do you guys knew that South Africa was actually desperate for change? They were just not screaming as we were doing. And I think theirs we have been deteriorating, but they were smarter actually watching what was happening. South Africans were desperate for a change, for your own information. That's why there were so many people who registered to vote, especially young people. You've seen how they were on the campaign trail. They were desperate. And this ZANU-PF, also the Zuma strategy that came through, that really caused a bit of a chaos there. Majority of people said, how can we implement the same in the Zimbabwean community? But I thought that's exactly what Kasukere wanted to do. So let me put this on record, because I heard someone saying to me, I'm always going to be going crazy about Kasukere. Listen to me. I'm not going crazy about anybody. I don't go crazy about anybody. I'm very much in control of my emotions and my feelings. You know, as far as who I give my energy is concerned, I'm focusing on Zimbabwe currently. Politicians, I respect them and love them as brothers. But the people that I'm focusing on are you, the Zimbabwean community, so that it can restore its dignity and sanity. That's my goal and that's my purpose. That's what I'm focusing on. So I want to make it very clear. When I talk about these politicians, I'm not because I'm crazy about, no, I'm not crazy at all. Not at all. Yeah. But sometimes I have to apply my mind and wisdom. Last year, you see what is, do you know this Zuma was very close to, if you, people can check on Twitter right now, you could see Muzembe, Zuma, I think there was Ali, and then Kasukure's brother. They were extremely very close. I mean, they've been very close for a long time, you know. And do you remember also last time that they went to Zuma when they wanted to be readmitted to ZANU-PF, which President Mnangagwa and the other cabals in ZANU-PF rejected their offer, right? But the most important part is the game that Zuma did. That's exactly what Kasukere wanted to do last year, was to decimate President Mnangagwa by taking some of the ZANU-PF people so that they can be a government of power sharing, like what's happening right now in South Africa. Let me just tell you something. What I love about power sharing is that it really promotes checks and balances. I can guarantee you. We can have a president, but power sharing, it means no one can say, I own this, or it's my party, or it's my whatever. Because political parties are disappointing us daily. You can see Chamisa left because people disappointed him. Most of these people turned against him. And he said, hold on. Now I'm not a team Zimbabwe. Please, bye-bye a political party. Let me play the game. Let me see what's happening. He has been, even today, I said I'm going to cover that tomorrow morning. He has been on record today talking again about the same thing. I've got all the videos and I'm going to play that tomorrow. But my point is that we need to start looking at power sharing kind of leadership in the country when nobody says I'm owning nothing. You know, getting the right ministers who can do the job. Decrease the cabinet. It's also wasting money with all people just roaming around, but the country is deteriorating. But you've got a lot of all these employees. What are we doing? What are we doing with them? What are we doing with these people? You know what I mean? So power sharing thing was really, for me, I still feel that it's a good deal, honestly. I still believe that it's a good deal. So today I'm minding my business. One of my clients has the nerve. You know? Because one of my investor clients is a South African guy. He had the nerve. He sent me this message. He said to me, Zimbabwe. No, you went to my because it's my phone. So you went to my status, and he saw something that I had posted. I posted actually President Mnangagwa talking about the issue of Muswere. He said that he is the manager of propaganda. You heard him on record. And he said, Zimbabwe is the only weak link in SADC. Zimbabweans must stop this running away and fight for that country. And I said, you know, we are working on it. I'm sure it's going to happen very soon. And he said, it won't. Instead, it's getting worse. There is not even any opposition party. Citizens, also cowards, prefer to run instead of fighting. Then I said, we're almost there. Take it easy. Then he said to me, I think UK and South Africa must make it harder for Zimbabweans. That's the only way. South Africa and UK providing too much comfort for you people. This is my client sending me this message. I said, please, you just tried me. Yeah. You talk about Zimbabwe, yay. Don't do that. But why I read this message for you was just to show you, good guys, Zimbabwe can only be fixed by you and me. But sometimes we need to apply wisdom. You know, I've learned over the years that God works in mysterious ways. Sometimes, you know, he even said that in Isaiah 55, your ways are not my ways, neither your thoughts are not my thoughts, because my ways are higher than your ways. My thoughts are also higher than your thoughts. That's why you can plan your things and God will go the other way. I can tell you I had plans. I didn't even know that I'll be standing here and be talking to you. I thought I was still in school in America, at school. But God said, no, I want you here. You understand what I'm saying? You know, because he had a way, and I've got so much fulfillment talking to you, hearing people, we are all championing, pushing for change and freedom in the country. That's what matters to me. So with that being said, there was a space that happened, and one of my sister, my lady, Jessica, also, she worked really tirelessly on the, she was on the campaign of Nelson Chamisa. She said the problem that we have in Zimbabwe is people are not willing to do power sharing. I think Mutambara mentioned the same thing as well. He said the problem here is that, or he was expecting, not the problem, he said he was expecting President Emerson Mnangagwa, after he grabbed this war election last year, to now reach out to Chamisa and say, my brother, what can we do to fix this country? Because Chamisa, okay, even though the numbers were, we know, of course, you and me knows that those numbers were just cooked, but let's assume the more than 2 million that they said Chamisa got. That's a lot of people who believed in Chamisa. So what was about to happen was the President of Mnangagwa to reach out and say, sir, can we come together? Let's get the right cabinet for the country. That's what's called power sharing. You don't say, I win, I'm going to take everything to myself. No, you must acknowledge that there are people who voted for the other person. And those people are important. That's exactly what's going on down in South Africa here. They are saying everyone across the board, we must work together and make sure we have the best cabinet to serve our people so that we can build the country. I think any leader should promote, you know, unity and oneness. So let's listen to Jessica and her submissions. Was a powerful submissions. I'm not going to lie. Powerful, and I'll tell you what I think about it, but it was a powerful submissions. Like I said, we need to start having real conversations. Can I tell you, right now as we speak on X, on Twitter, they're having conversations. Zimbabweans are saying it's time. No fear, please be respectful. Don't throw shades and be disrespectful towards your other brothers. That's not right. Take a listen, please.
Yeah,
I hope
can you hear me?
will not fall off. Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, great, thanks. Finally. Yeah, there is something happening here with the network. Zulu, I think this is a great space. I've been listening to this because I was also traveling. So, you know, I was just putting on my earphones and just listening in. And perhaps now that I'm settled and I'm at home, I can just contribute, but I'm not going to.
Can you please greet Lynn Stasia before you start?
Lynn. Oh, there she is. I haven't seen her.
Okay.
Hi, Lynn. Okay, so my contribution is in regards to Zim politics in general. You see, the thing is that in Zimbabwe, we have very different circumstances to South Africa in the sense that I feel like in Zimbabwe, a lot has happened. A lot has happened. Corruption, killing, torture, there's a lot that has happened in Zimbabwe. And because a lot has happened in Zimbabwe, it is not very easy for the current regime to want to work with anyone outside of themselves, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that when it comes to other political parties, be it the main opposition, be it smaller oppositions, be it independents, people want ultimate power. Mm-hmm. It's not a power, we don't have in Zimbabwe the culture of power sharing, right? Which you can find perhaps in Kenya, or you can find it in other countries, or maybe you can find it like in so many different countries in the world where people can say, okay, let's sit together and let's actually just see how to go around this. So we don't have that. people want to outrightly do with the other away, right? So if you were to ask me, Kasukwere could have eaten a lot into the ZANU-PF pot, but the thing is that the opposition and smaller oppositions and whatever, and other people that can bring in percentages or however way they can do it, right? Unfortunately, I wouldn't see that happening, that people would then say, okay, look, let's sit and let's actually talk through things, right? Because I think there's the last speaker who was saying, oh, then Kasukwere has done this, then Kasukwere. So there's already a lot of sentiments around these people. Now, if you go to South Africa, a bigger nation, right? 50 or 80 million people, a bigger nation, people that are willing to back up the other person and whatever, and some who are well keen on taking advice and whatever, and the things that we've seen. So I would say that would be the second issue of the ultimate power. Like everybody wants the ultimate power without having to share it with anyone else. And then lastly, I would say that for Zimbabwe to actually really move forward, people need to have a common enemy, right? And I'm sorry to say this in this way, but then it's just not in the literal sense, but it's just the English terminology, which is a common enemy, right? As in, for this person, if we don't want ZANU-PF to have the ultimate power, it might still contain 30%, right? Other people need to come together and be the 70%, right? Which is exactly so Zuma's strategy wasn't to be the president of South Africa. If anyone thinks that MK party was formed to be in presidency and to retain all votes in South Africa, that person is not doing their calculations very well. It was all entirely to weaken a single regime party, right? And then power share across different people, right? Because EFF has strong leaders. MK has strong leaders. DA has strong leaders. Like there's so even though others are killers, others are vampires, others are former apartheid, champions, and but the goal was to weaken the regime, to weaken the government that was there. It was EFF, I can promise you, Julius Malema wasn't going to the election with the knowledge that he was going to be the president. Nor was DA, nor was any other political party. But the common enemy here wasn't necessarily people in ANC or Ramaphosa himself as an individual. It was to mark cracks, to build cracks, where people can pour water, and then it disintegrates, and then it includes everyone. So now ANC will be forced to govern with other people that they never thought they would have even done it with. Now imagine what happened, and in closing, what happened is slightly, and not exactly, but slightly similar to what happened in 2008, where Robert Mugabe knew that he was in the corner, and other leaders had to come and say, look, bro, like, can you see that you lost, right? Yeah. And he never thought a day in his life he's going to shake hands and say Changirai is the prime minister. But the goal then that Changirai had wasn't, when he went to elections, yes, he was going to win the presidency, but I think the entire strategy was to create cracks in the regime, which then forced him to also power share, which then forced the regime to power share with the opposition. So now as it stands, Zimbabwe doesn't have that vision of putting cracks in the regime. And if we do have people that want to put cracks in the regime, instead of then focusing on people and focusing on the economy, a person is only focusing on the $5 that they're going to make. They don't care if Eleonora is going to make something, Zimwa is going to make something, Chris is going to make something. No one cares about what Hulu is going to get. People are just more concerned with what am I going to get out of this deal. Idiriri, 555, and also to point this out, someone like Wicknell, and I think Hulu has been very outspoken about Wicknell, he got the tender to do all that sex stuff, right? That's why he's 40 million. He didn't even have to work a day in his life for that 40 million. He did not. the Vanazani, those boys, Chumombe and whomever, and the other people that were supposed to also eat into the deal, right? They only had to expose through that letter because havana kudya mudhiri.
Yeah.
Dai vakadya mudhiri, dai pasina ari kuziva kuti Wicknell ndiye akapa matoilets, amuzvise akapa matoilets ese Zeki akasupply zvine. That's why Zek to this day still came out and said, we don't owe you an explanation as to who supplied what. Because the ranga chese zvazvichingori zvemadhiri. Wicknell was never very outspoken about ZANU-PF before dhiri.
Yeah.
Pakangoita dhiri, ini ZANU-PF ndoitenda. Uri kuitenda ka because ndiwe kauri kupa Zeki zvinhu. Ini ZANU-PF uchi, hey ZANU-PF, kudhara imboti I'm a businessman, hey I'm a businessman. Kubva musi wakangonzi, ipa matoilets, ipa mapepa, ipa machi. He started being so vocal about ZANU-PF. Why? Because he did. So yeah, so in my conclusion, that's what I just wanted to say, Kuti. In all of this, Zimbabweans need to have a common enemy. Whether you are in ZANU-PF, you are not in ZANU-PF, you're in opposition, you're not in opposition, you're an independent, you've got an independent thinking of your own. Just know that the common enemy is not the people who eat Mnangagwa. No, the common enemy is poverty, like what Hulu is saying. Poverty. As for poverty in Zimbabwe, we don't want it. And everybody should be working towards putting cracks so that we work together. Thank you.
What a powerful submission right there. Poverty is our common enemy. But here's the thing, the poverty is a common enemy, but there's also another common enemy that we all can see right now. The dynasty is another common enemy that we need to work toward. The dynasty. Guys, listen. The dynasty. You see, because the dynasty is the reason why we're in poverty right now. It's this whole flipping dynasty that is going on right currently. And these are our enemies. And as Zimbabweans, we need to come together across the board, excuse me. I think this is one of the reasons why I'm excited with all this firing, chasing, because it's going to push people to... I'm also a firm believer that when people don't act properly, you're going to be pushed and you do the right thing. So I really think this firing... Go ahead, sir. Go. Everybody who's not doing right, fire. Because then people are going to open their eyes and do the right thing. And by the way, I always going to call it divine intervention. So when God makes moves, orchestrate events, right? Orchestrate events. Well, we're on our way there. No way. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a game of chess. I always love to call this like a cosmic chessboard. You make a move, I make a move. But in the end, we are holding a checkmate and we'll come out. We are holding a checkmate and we are going to close this chase. We'll close and we'll win it. We must come together and have one common enemy. For me, the dynasty is like, I'm terrified about this. Please, God knows my heart and where I stand about this. God knows my heart, how I hate poverty. Because most of the actions of people celebrating my Mnangagwa is poverty. Today, I was feeling very bad for Madungo. The Madungo was given an aqua, but he's struggling for a shelter to stay, And I'm asking myself, can you see? They don't love you. They're users. They're there to use you. They simply play with your mind. Brothers, when are we going to value our sanity and realize that we're worthy or we matter of a better life and a good life? We're worthy of a good life, right? Well, we don't have to beg anybody. One enemy, Zimbabweans across, whether you are Triple C or whatever you're called, we must have one. And we can see what's going on in the country, the games that are being played that no, this is not who we are. We can't identify with this, with such a charade. The gimmicks are becoming too much. All of a sudden, Sengezo Shavangu is addressing people. And I'm sitting and I'm watching, I'm like, what's that? All right, what is that? And I know somebody's keep on calling me Chamisa. All right, guys, I've heard that statement many times that I'm Chamisa. Okay, let me make this clear, okay? Do you even know that I was even considered Chapman? I'm going to be honest with you because I'm a person who's very, so you don't do, I'm not Chamisa Chete, but I do support Chamisa. Okay, get this right. So, in other words, is if maybe Chamisa runs his term 2 terms, And I'm going to have to choose another leader that I think is worthy. So I'm not a Chamisa candidate, like I'm not going to go crazy like what people doing is ZANU-PF. I respect the rules, yo. I do respect the rules. So I'm not Chamisa candidate, honestly. I'm really not, yo. We need to have one common enemy. And I'm telling you, hear me out. Maybe, I'm just saying maybe, God can use Kasukuire so that we can get to where we want to be. He doesn't have to be the president, but God can use his skills. God can use him to get to where we want to go. He did it with Saul when he was killing Christians. But then God turned him upside down and he became Paul. He began to preach and change lives. You never know what God is doing. Let's not close the gates for people. Let's work together to achieve a Zimbabwe that we want. Because this is my worry. If we keep on bastardizing each other, blocking one another, what if that is the will of God for us? What are we going to do? God is going to say, I came trying to help you and you don't want my help. So do your thing. I really think we need to work together and choose a president that of our choice. But we must work together to achieve a Zimbabwe that we want, where people are going to share power. When I say power sharing, there will be checks and balances, guys. When people know that they don't have to belong to anything, look what people do in ZANU-PF. Their society is contaminated. People can do any evil with impunity. You know why? Because they know there is a party that protects me. There mustn't be any part that protects you. Look what Chinamasa is doing. He says, no, I'm a president of Zambia before you talk about a political party. But because our society is so polarized, it can be difficult. We need to start building a society that knows that, no, you are before politics. Politics is simply a people, but at the end of the day, we are Zimbabweans. And Zimbabwe should come first before any politician. And Zimbabwe should come first before my desires. I have to consider my brothers and my sisters that I have around me. Right? That's what we need to start pursuing. A society that is balanced, where there's power sharing. Look, it didn't take South Africa a lot of time. Now they're talking about coalitions. And they have to consider a lot of things. The business have to be considered, business sector. They have to consider the issue of, the majority, the black people, the white people. They have to consider, your qualifications as well. Are you good? Your track record. There's a lot that's going to be on the table. Guys, it's time. Zimbabweans, we stop being obsessed with things and really say, I'm obsessed with Zimbabwe. I want this country to work, right? When people have jobs, they will never even care about politics. Trust me, they're successful companies. I was shocked when I was reading in America, there were about 15 women billionaires, multi-billionaires, but I didn't know their names. I saw them in the magazine, but they're billionaires. You know what? They don't care about politics. They've got something to do. When we are all busy, we don't care about what's going on in a political circle. Let's create a society that affords us to live our life freely. I don't need to be a minister to drive a car or to be loved by people. I can change lives without even having a title. I hate a title. I can tell you, folks, I don't like titles. But I don't know, they pursue me all the time. But I don't like them, and God knows I don't like titles. Call me Rumbiro, I'm good to go. Because you know what? My purpose is bigger than a title. Far bigger than that. In fact, most people with titles are doing absolutely nothing in the society. In fact, they're hating people, hiding behind a title. If people that have got titles today, they were really called to be in those positions, I don't think we can have the mess that we have in the country today. No. But because they're just running around with titles, but they have nothing to offer, to them it's, I just need to have a title. It's an obsession with a title you can't do nothing with. It's time for us to teach our children that forget about a title. What's your purpose? Why are you here? Where are you going? What do you want to do? What's your talent? How can we captivate your gifts? How can we make the society better for you? But here we are, we're just fighting for nothing. Other people are moving on. No wonder why we are not being called, but my client is telling me that no, Zimbabwe needs to come together now and start standing for what's right. You're becoming cancer in Africa. No, it can't be. Guys, brothers and sisters, we can work together and build a Zimbabwe that we know we all deserve, that we genuinely want. We cannot carry on with this toxicity. I'm sick and tired. Right now, I could be married right now, you know, with my man. But how can we? Men don't even want to be married. They just, majority of men don't even want commitment because they're still dealing with the nonsense that's going on in the country. Can I tell you, the moment ZANU-PF, we crash ZANU-PF, I can guarantee you, could you see so many things changing? Women, you're going to be married because men are coming back. They're just gallivanting in all these countries. They'll be coming back to find their wives there. I can tell you, there's a lot of things that will happen. Marriages are going to be restored. People have a leader who is married and they'll see the benefits of marriage. But as we stand, do they see a benefit of marriage? You just heard me. Don't also forget the anointing, huh? The anointing from the head of Aaron. When things are not okay upstairs there, I can tell you, I'm going to come back when I really need to deal with these politicians and their dirty things that they do. When I'm reading this, I've been reading the tweets that are being sent out. Did you guys remember Susan Mutami? Remember Susan Mutami's story? Where there was that where Susan Mutami had to be graced by the entire cabinet. Do you remember that story? You remember the story that trended last time? These days, she's busy writing stuff that are shocking. And I'm coming. These people don't have a heart of anybody. What they do is just to sponsor their dirty lifestyle. Prostitution, majority of them. Prostitution, and hear me out. Because you know why? Money is everywhere. And they don't know what to do with it. No, they are busy sponsoring dirty works. You can see all these Vanashavangu, all this dirty nonsense. The money is there, but they don't know what to do with it. Because they were never called to be in those positions. Because the people that are called to serve, they put people first. I know that this cannot because they don't even have the heart for anybody. For them, it's all about how many girlfriends can I have, how many slave queens I can have in town. You know, that's good. When you see they start doing things right in your face, Sengozo Shavangu's story, I'll tell it to my children, my grandchildren. In fact, I'm going to have to write in my book of remembrance. This story have shown me that Zimbabwe is a broken society. And you know what? Songezo is very lucky that he's doing it to Zimbabweans. Do you know there's a guy who tried it in South Africa? Maybe they had got that script from ZANU-PF, apparently, NC. They tried it with Zuma. The guy today from court, they went after him. The MK wanted to beat him up. It was violent today. The guy that did exactly what Sengezo Shavangu did and got away with it. Because we are good people, right? But other countries don't take no nonsense. You cross the line, it comes with a cost. I'm sure right now you better have to, because here they don't play here. They don't play here. I'm telling you facts. I'm seeing is addressing people. Even the commissioner, right, was just sitting. People were sitting just to look at this man. It's time. It's really time. We stand for what's right. Building a society that you believe in respect for each other. A society of love, of honor, of respect. You know, respecting yourself first before the other person, right? Because people can only treat you the way you want to be treated. Why? They can see your actions. And they're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, this guy, he's a good man. No, he's not a good man. No, she's a good woman. No, she's a bad woman. Let's work together, brothers and sisters, Zimbabweans, and make sure whatever is going on right now will never happen again in our lifetime. We must draw the line in the sand, like what Rwanda did. And I still stand by my words. Any person who's busy involved in corruption right now, at the right time and forum, they must be given life in prison. You know why? Because they are living the life that they want currently, and we need to live our life that we want when they are locked up. Because they've caused our people to suffer for decades, and that will come with a cost. All this arrogance, showing off, is going to end. It's definitely going to end, I can tell you. I've heard Mazibaba is angry. I don't know what Wikino did to Mazibaba Shandiko, and he's mad. Please take a listen.
Ndudze zvekuita inindivai mwana mudiki stere kwandiri plaza handikunde kufunga iye akaita mukana wokubira nyika munhu akasarudzwa nevana vezimbabwe ndipresident advocate Nelson Chamisa, idi anozviziva, ZANU-PF inozviziva. Makona kana pavakasuduka vachidzoka so nyoka dzese nevavengi vese nevatengesesi vabuda pachena. Dai vasina kudaro president Chamisa hapana kwataienda. Ndopamaitaura kuti hapana kwamuri kuenda madzibaba. Muri kufiwa nenzara munyika umu nokuda kweZANU-PF. Nyika ine maminerals mangani, but nyika iri kutambura. How many minerals dziri munyika? Nyika ine mari yakadai so, but tiri kutambura munyika mudai so. Kutambura nokuda kweZANU-PF. Chirwere chiri munyika ndo ZANU-PF. Chinofanira kubayiwa majekiseni napresident Chamisa. Ndinoda president Chamisa kudarika batu. Inini pandikatongonzwa vanzwa kuti vakomana naOstalosi vari kufamba vari kumbokura ground pablue movement. Inini mangwana acho ndakabva ndatenga mugore yangu 2 yependi.
Thank you.
Ndakazviti ari manheru kazvikuseni vakazongoona kuti yablue pana. Kana president Chamisa izvo zvakati ndakuisa red. Munoona yared kamusha unoona wared. Wakaona yapepo ini munoona wapepo musha. Zvavatoita nhasi so vakatotaura kuti takupfeka pepo. Munoona yapepo musha wese uyu nhasi isati radoka.
All right, yeah, so that's my Zimbabwe to go. Wow, Zimbabweans want peace. Zimbabweans want a restart, and it's really coming. It's very close. You can see what's going on right now. These are simply signs. We are very close to have the Zimbabwe that we want. Fear not, and guys, cheer up. We are very close to the Zimbabwe that you want. I can bet you truth. It's coming. It's coming. People are going to be shocked. It's around the corner. All right, and the president was in Korea today, apparently, and I also saw Joe Charamba there, you know, and he spoke in Korea, you know, about the relationship that the Zimbabwe has with Korea. Yes, and the South Korea, sorry. Here's the deal. To know South Korea, you know, gained its independence, I think that was in 1952, if I'm not mistaken. Hey, today is actually the 4th richest country in the world. All right, the last time I checked, I don't know if there are changes there, but the last time I checked, you know, it was, or maybe it is, all right, rich country, very spiritual country as well, more Buddha actually, more than they're Christians, but it's more of Buddha. And like I've always told you that I love one thing about Buddha, concentration. And Buddha is all about love, respect, humility. You know, the Christians have completely disappointed me, the love of things, too materialistic. The one way they're becoming vicious and ugly towards each other. And I grew up in the church, the FM church, incredible church at that time. But today, it's chaos. People are fighting for positions. The love of things. It's dangerous. We're in this mess in the country because people love things more than they can love each other, not knowing that the secret is in loving each other, and things begin to follow you. So if you want things before loving people, it's dangerous. Then you can kill to get stuff. You can do anything evil to get stuff. But a wise person understands that no, you love people first, and then everything follows. Right? That's why the Bible says that the greatest of all the commandments is love your neighbor like you love yourself. Right? It's preferring your neighbor than you can prefer yourself. I can tell you one thing that God has given me grace of is I always prefer the next person. I can guarantee, I always, if you come to my house, everyone must eat first, and I'll be running up and down. I want to make sure, are you okay? Are you sure that's who I am? That's what we need to do in our society, is to love each other. Prefer your neighbor. You know, if you see someone is hungry, can you have something to eat? Let me tell you, it's so fulfilling to be a blessing to others. And we must understand that is a Zimbabwean community. ZANU-PF greedy. We don't want it in the new Zimbabwe. We do not want it. It's toxic and it's poisonous. You can see. It's poisonous. It creates a lot of hatred unnecessarily. But when we share the little that we have more. When we love each other, God will bless us. But when we are doing what we're doing, no, the cases are falling day in, day out. And it's time for us to understand that love, Kwangazo. Let's unite against the evil in our country. And let me tell you, it will die down just like that. But all of them have to pay. I still stuck to my guns. There must be life in prison for the evil they've caused. Because they don't deserve to be in society because they can contaminate the good people. So we need to make sure we drive them away and lock them somewhere else so at least they can be rehabilitated there. Maybe after years, vachembera ne-white ndevu tiwachimbubuda panze muchiona what we've done for Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? I love you all. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. You guys must sleep tight, and I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be looking at Nelson Chamisa's speech at the funeral and also looking at what happened between Mdara today and Mafume. Interesting days ahead. I love you, and bye for now. All right, so I need to be a sister skipper, brother skipper, do I? Yeah, I need to be a brother or sister skipper because there are people who love this song, and I have to do the right thing and just play it for you, honestly. Yeah. I love you, memory. I love your hair, yeah? It's blue color. All right. All right. You must have a good one, and I love you. Bye for now.